What's up, everyone? We'd like to welcome you most regally to another episode of the Evan Hears Culture campaign. We're somewhere in the rainbow today because the title of this album is Home Like No Place Is There. You know what that means. We're off to hear this album for my show. The title's a reference to the Wizard of Oz, so here we go. We're not in Kansas anymore. If I only had the nerve to pay no attention to the man. Back to Evan Hears Culture campaign, you are welcome. Home Like No Place Is There is album title. Yoda speak written in, that means do or do not listen to album, there is no try. Good album be... It's amazing that we're 80 episodes into this and this still sucks. Alright, no bits. I just want to talk about this album very sort of quickly. It's called Home Like No Place Is There, as I said. Came out in 2014 by a band called the Hotelier. And I like it. I think it is a good album. However, at this point, we're this many albums deep, I don't know if I found it to be particularly special. And I get why the album sort of has an acclaim, the level of acclaim it does. Because as I've found out through my research, it's kind of the centerpiece of the emo revival movement. And so that makes sense to me that it would feature on kind of a best albums list like this, is because, the emo boomtown was kind of in the 2000s, and that audience was sort of underserved in the 2010s. So including an album that is considered to be the pinnacle of that makes sense to me. However, I didn't love it. I found it a little bland throughout, a little, it wasn't hollow, it wasn't empty. I just didn't find myself completely connecting to it. So, a little bit about it. It's the Hotelier. As I said, it's emo. A lot of the album is about the lead singer, Christian Halden, their sort of struggles with depression, and in particular, the suicide of a close friend of theirs before the album came out. So a lot of songs revolve around that. And I think the thing about this album is that if you're in that sort of place and that sort of mentality where this album can be a cathartic release of all those, if you're feeling sort of similar emotions, then the album can really connect and you can get into it. However, I didn't feel like if you weren't feeling that, the album was able to bring you there, to pull you in with its songwriting ability, to get you to that place. Like some albums are, even if you're not feeling the emotions of the album at the time or dealing with that same subject matter, it can pull you in to that world of it. And I didn't find this album did that for me. That's kind of my main sort of critique there. There's a lot of things I like though. I like Christian Halden's voice. I think there's a snarliness to it. I like a lot of the lyrical moments. There's a wry sense of humor that runs throughout. There's some good imagery. There are some deep sort of cut to your core kind of bits on there. I think instead of dwelling on moments that I didn't like, I kind of just want to address sort of 3 songs that I did compelling. So I like the first track, an introduction to this album. It does lay out the themes pretty well, even though it's called an introduction to this album. It's a full 4-minute journey. It's its own kind of song. And it has a lot of moments I like. A lot of lyrics. I shot from the hip and missed, detaching from all of this. I like that as a line. I also like the last line in that I had a chance to construct something beautiful and I choked. I think, I don't know, there is something about, it's quintessential emo, but it does connect across demographics and across that regardless of how you're feeling or whether you like the thing, I think we all felt like we have, at some point have had a big opportunity in our path and have failed to capitalize on it. So that song works for me. The other song that works for me is called Your Deep Rest, which is the one that, as far as I could tell, folk kind of commented most heavily on the suicide of the friend. And it has the chorus, I called in sick from your funeral, which is what I'm talking about, that wry sort of humor, even though that is very dark subject material. I called in sick from your funeral. That's a funny line. Got a little chuckle out of me. And one thing that it does nicely is it pairs. It's able to get that chuckle out of you, but then it's able to pull you back into the reality of it. So, I called in sick from your funeral. The side of your body made me feel uncomfortable. That is sort of the first chorus there, and then later it comes back, the sight of your family made me feel responsible. And that's something that's difficult to grapple with and is really interesting to explore. And the album does a good job of exploring those kind of emotions. The ones that are sort of, they're embarrassing to get out there to some degree, but they are necessary to achieve some sort of healing. So I like that song. The last one I kind of liked that stuck out to me was called Housebroken, which is based around a sort of metaphor of being kind of a mistreated and abused dog, who let you, all sorts of, it's based around that metaphor. And, your heart has spoken. I feel you're already housebroken. And I really like that. But oddly enough, that makes that the second song on this campaign that's been about the metaphor of the abused dog. The first, of course, being Soccer Mommy's Your Dog. And there was a song on this album called Among the Wildflowers. Soccer Mommy had a song called Wildflowers on Clean. Weird connection there. It's fucking all there is to say, really, in my opinion. Check it out, The Hotelier. Home like no place is there. 80 episodes. Hooray! Culture out.